Hello, and welcome to Tech Cubicle on SAP. I am Daryl Griffiths, and this is my weekly 180 where I spend 180 seconds on the latest techie news that impacts the world of SAP. At the end, I'll pick my favourite to review in a little more detail in the cubicle. In my SAP Techie News this week, the SAP News Centre hosts an article on Fusion Consulting's cold chain management solution built on SAP BTP. The article talks mainly about the purpose of a cold chain management solution in the life sciences sector and briefly notes how this has been previously done manually and included paper-based processes. This non-digital process incurred high workload processing times as well as more errors. One thing that is slightly confusing in the article is the mention of clean core. In the article, there is no talk of ERP or any other SAP product apart from BTP, so the use of the words clean core is like mentioning taking swimming trunks on a desert tour. It's interesting, but without context it just doesn't add up. The link to the article is down below. Google's June update for SAP includes new 16TB X4 bare metal machines that are now SAP certified for HANA and NetWeaver. As mentioned, these are not virtual machines, but bare metal, which means they are dedicated for whoever pays for them. The post also includes details on new features in version 3.4 of the Google Cloud Agent for SAP. This new version of the multi-role agent includes workload performance diagnostics, ability to specify custom time metadata on uploaded backend backups, new features for the HANA disk restore command related to disk snapshot management. The links to the articles and subsequent links are down below. SUSE Linux Enterprise Server for SAP 15.6 was released. This version of the OS is what is known as a refresh, which includes a major kernel update to 6.4, updates to glibc, OpenSSL, OpenSSH, Java, Python, Rust, Go, PHP, and Node application runtimes. Specifically for SAP, the new version includes new HANA resource agents with new features allowing reactions to infrastructure-level failures not handled by the usual SAP HANA SR agent. SP6 includes support for Ansible playbooks for SAP deployment, available in the SUSE Package Hub. One thing to mention here is that the new OpenSSH vulnerability CVE 2024-6387, known as regreSSHion, is present in SLES15.6 and being fixed, so watch out for that one. ERP Today has an article on when is best to make the jump from SAP ERP to SAP S4HANA. One quote in the article is from Gartner. As of Q4 2023, Gartner estimates indicate that approximately 64% of SAP ECP clients have not licensed SAP S4HANA yet. One interesting point that the article's author makes regarding extended support. Those of us who read the fine print see that this option is only available for customers needing support for their applications in longer conversion phases to SAP S4HANA. Well, let's see which item I choose to go into depth on this week. The link to the article is down below. The Register has an article on Asda's £430 million IT separation bill from parent company Walmart. The article mentions that Asda has spent 3 years building separate IT systems including POS, ERP, HR and payroll. Known internally as Project Future, the project aims to move to RISE with SAP S4HANA hosted on Microsoft Azure. It was noted that the project's predicted February deadline was extended in January with a new deadline at the end of 2024. The project is said to be further complicated by a large 2P of 130 staff to TCS. The link is in the description down below. The final item this week is on the already mentioned OpenSSH vulnerability CVE 2024-6387, known as regreSSHion. This is a regression bug where a prior fix has somehow become unfixed and the bug reintroduced. The vulnerability allows an unauthenticated attacker to gain access to a remote system via the secure shell SSH port through what is known as a race condition. The race condition is like waiting for the stars to align in the correct way so as to expose a sequence of events that were not predicted, revealing a weakness. With this in mind, the OpenSSH team note in their release notes for the patched version that in lab conditions it took them on average between 4 to 8 hours of trying to be able to compromise a system. Therefore, this is not a simple exploit. Nevertheless, check your operating system support sites for patches because being a regression, only the very oldest and very latest operating system versions are impacted. The link to the article is down below, along with the link to the OpenSSH release notes. My favourite item this week is the article on ERP Today on when is best to make the jump from SAP ERP to SAP S4HANA. Whilst the initial parts of the article are really well explained and it sets the scene nicely for providing a discussion point around moving to S4HANA due to the change of support of SAP ERP after 2027, the follow-on points are not so well put together. Specifically the paragraph, those of us who read the fine print see that this option is only available for customers needing support for their applications in longer conversion phases to SAP S/4HANA. And I've gone and fact-checked that. That quote is lifted from the page on SAP's innovation commitment for SAP S/4HANA until 2040. The page is not a contractual statement and not an SAP note. The context of the source paragraph is around offering customers choice, with an example of that choice being customers that need extra time while they migrate to S/4HANA. It is certainly not saying that customers can only get extended maintenance for Business Suite 7 if they are moving to S/4HANA. That's not correct at all. At this point in time, I can find no restrictions on who is entitled to extended support in SAP Note 28817888, End of SAP Business Suite 7 Mainstream Maintenance, or in SAP Note 1648480, Maintenance for SAP Business Suite 7 software, including SAP NetWeaver. I have also looked in the SAP Standard Support Schedule and the SAP Enterprise Support Schedule, and there is no mention of restriction on extended support. Therefore, I have to conclude that if a customer is willing to pay for extended support and the customer currently qualifies for standard support or enterprise support, then they can simply request and pay for extended support to commence at the end of standard maintenance. And while we are on the subject of SAP support, I feel it's worthwhile clarifying customer-specific maintenance. Once the extended support period ends, the product drops into customer-specific maintenance. This is documented in SAP Note 52505, Support after End of Mainstream Maintenance or Extended Maintenance. Customers need to pay for customer-specific maintenance, just like they pay for extended maintenance. This means that some level of support for an old ERP6 system, for example, could be provided for a number of years after. The main problems I see with customer-specific maintenance is the lack of legal changes, specifically HR modules, and also no kernel updates, which impact the ability to run SAP systems on new versions of operating systems and databases, which in turn causes a bit of a security hole. Effectively, the systems inside customer-specific maintenance could become a big security risk quite quickly. What is the difference between customer-specific maintenance and third-party maintenance? This is tricky to differentiate because it depends on the third party and what they offer. But essentially, they could be able to provide a similar level of support as SAP, but it is likely to cost less. The reason why some companies have chosen to leave SAP maintenance and move to third-party maintenance is primarily to save money. Money that could be used to fund a future project to move to SAP S/4HANA. There have been news stories on S/4HANA customers, yes, S/4HANA customers, moving to third-party support. Back in episode 17, and I'll put the link above, there was an ERP Today article on Pacific Textiles moving their S/4HANA support to a third party. The article did not provide enough detail to indicate if this was an S/4HANA version that was something like 1709 or older, which could have been out of support. I don't believe that any SAP customer would abandon SAP support during the mainstream maintenance period. Would they? How much does customer-specific maintenance cost? SAP notes only say you must pay the maintenance fee in accordance with your maintenance contract. So it is customer-specific, as it says. As a final thought, if customers move their SAP Business Suite into extended maintenance, then they also get Solution Manager, albeit with reduced functionality, included in that extended maintenance. If they choose not to use extended maintenance and fall into customer-specific maintenance, then the same applies to Solution Manager. If a customer no longer pays any maintenance to SAP and chooses a third party, then the customer loses the right to use Solution Manager entirely. An alternative monitoring and alerting tool will be needed. If anything, it will be interesting how this whole debacle turns out in less than 4 years from now, in 2028. That's it from me. I'm taking a break for a couple of weeks for the summer, and I expect to resume the weekly 180 around the 25th of July. As always, reference links are in the description down below, drop me a comment, give the video a thumbs up, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. A large 2-page